Hello, and thank you so much for joining us today. For those who don't know me, I'm Balsam Webe, the Marketing and Communication Coordinator at GlobalDWS, and I will be your host today. So we're thrilled to have you here. Before we begin, just a quick note that the session is being recorded and we'll be sending it out next week. If you have any questions, please have them here on the chat or on the Q&A section, and we're going to have an opportunity to answer some of your questions at the end. Okay, so I'm so delighted to introduce our panelists today. It's going to be a great discussion. We have Monica Klein-Nouri, the Executive Director at Meighen Health Center, and our Vice President of Sales and Marketing, Lee St. James, and Yahya Saad, our co-founder and Chief Digital Officer. Okay, so I'm going to give the mic to Lee, and she's going to give you an introduction about GlobalDWS.
Thank you so much, Balsam. That was awesome. So GlobalDWS was founded in 2013 as a leading systems integrator, and DWS stands for Digital Workplace Services. So even 12 years ago, our co-founders really understood what the future of work was going to look like and the importance of the digital transformation. So we help customers leverage the latest technologies to improve safety and sustainability, increase productivity, and contribute to greater employee and customer satisfaction. As your trusted advisors, we're committed to supporting your business priorities by delivering efficient, affordable, and timely solutions. And we've been a Microsoft Gold partner in AI and data analytics now for over 9 years. What does it mean to be a systems integrator? Obviously, technology is all around us, and you have many different vendors and sources of technology, both hardware and software. What we are committed to is working together with those vendors and to really helping ensure that all of your technology works together in a streamlined way and that you can lay out a roadmap and a plan for technology adoption that is cost efficient and cyber safe. Today, our agenda is in 5 main stages. The first thing I'm going to quickly take us through is some quick market trends in AI and senior care. And then I'm going to hand it over to Monica, who's going to talk about how AI is transforming Meighen Health Center. We're going to have a quick panel discussion. Yahya and I are going to ask Monica some questions that I'm sure many of you have. So I hear these questions a lot in my discussions with prospects and clients across the country. So I wanted to make sure that those 3 questions were addressed. And then we're going to open it up for audience Q&A. And then at the end, Yahya is going to come back in and we'll talk about the next steps for embracing AI. So societal expectations are increasing. We know that AI is a wave. It's all around us. It's like a tidal wave in some ways. And it's all in the media. You're hearing lots and lots of things about it. There has been a shift in the last sort of 6 to 12 months from sort of resistance to figuring out how to embrace AI. And that's why we feel that this webinar and our Embracing AI series is so important for sharing not just our expertise, but really bringing a dialogue and showing through case studies how you can also participate in this journey and help to shape the future of AI in your operations. You may have heard concerns from staff or others about, will robots and AI replace me or replace jobs? And while many types of activities have the technical potential to be automated, it's really the percentage of the roles vary depending significantly across both those activities and the industries. So according to this study by McKinsey, you'll see that on the right-hand side, there's some repetitive things and data processing, data collection that can be automated, and a big chunk of those, but not 100% of that work, can be replaced by robotics and AI. But there are other areas that are a lot where robots and robotic technology or AI can help people, but it's really about augmenting people and changing the scope of their work so that they can actually focus on more value-added tasks. According to this study by Harvard, we say that the likely impact of AI on jobs is that it's not the replacement of workers, but it's to augment jobs with AI. And our summary of that is, human judgment plus AI is better than AI alone. And so what we're really trying to encourage with the Embracing AI webinar series is for us to shape that future and what does it look like to participate with AI. So for every dollar a company invests in AI, this IDC research study confirms that they're realizing an average return of $3.50. And that average time that it takes organizations to realize a return on their AI investment is about 14 months. So we're definitely seeing an economic reason to invest in this technology, and we'll talk about that a little bit later as well. In the long-term care sector, we know that there are significant labor shortages. These statistics are just from the Ontario market, where individuals employed in Ontario's long-term sector, there's over 100,000 of them. There's been a 60% increase in job vacancy rates over the past 5 years. 80% of long-term care homes are reporting challenges filling shifts. Over almost 60,000 PSWs, additional PSWs and nurses are estimated to be required by 2029. And that is in recognition of the fact that 25% of the Ontario's PSWs are in their mid-50s, and there's probably a looming surge in retirements as they age and, as we all age, I guess. So we know that long-term care is evolving, how we deliver care is changing, and who supports caregivers is changing. So while humans excel at the more compassionate caregiving and creative thinking tasks, they spend still a fair amount of their time on repetitive and manual caregiving tasks that may be, adjusted or automated. And we're going to talk a little bit about that, or Monica's going to share a little bit about how that plays out in real life. So transforming long-term care with AI, our focus as a company is around 3 different sectors. So robotics, in this case, delivery and social robots, where maybe it's as simple as just reducing the steps in the workload on your staff, or augmenting social activities, increasing the availability of social engagement sort of on a 24/7 basis. There's a wide variety of use cases for robotics. And it's estimated that it's going to be a $6.69 billion market by 2030 globally. In terms of cognitive automation, this is really where it's all in sort of in the background, not necessarily the sexy thing about robots and sensors and things like that, but using AI for note taking, or using AI to help generate emails faster, or streamline your documentation. Saves time, improves quality, and 86% of respondents in these studies expected gains by this year alone. So many of you are probably already using something like ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot, and that's certainly a part of it, and we can help you, expand that journey. With IoT, or Internet of Things, and connected sensors, we're really looking at how do you automate some of the monitoring tasks and things in your facility, digitizing them and making them connected so that you can provide faster, safer, and more efficient care. And Monica's got some great stories to tell about this one. And we estimate, sorry, not we, but the studies from Deloitte, Fortune Business Insights, and Capgemini estimate a 60% adoption rate of these sensors by 2026. So now I'm going to ask Monica a very provocative question to start her presentation. Can robotics and AI improve care without disrupting what works? Hopefully the answer is yes. Over to you, Monica.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us on this lovely afternoon. So, Lee, I think the question isn't whether robotics and AI will change care. The question here is whether we'll use them to amplify human connection or let them replace it. So I'm gonna share with you a summary of our journey on implementing AI and robotics in Meighen Health Center. We knew that meaningful change is required more than good ideas, required change rooted in purpose. So this journey of Meighen Health Center reflects how we thoughtfully integrated technology to enhance care, support our teams, and stay true to what already works. So a bit about Meighen Health Center for the ones of you that are not familiar with our center. The center is owned and managed by Salvation Army. We have 2 buildings, a long-term care home, Isabel and Arthur Meighen Manor, with 168 residents. rooms with 6 home areas. The building was built in 2003 and is a 4-story building with a newly upgraded HVAC system. On the other hand, we have the Meighen retirement residence, which is an assisted living residence with 69 units, 60 years old, and 6 stories, which houses about 65 to 70 seniors at any given time. So our goals were to, as I said, modernize operations, enhance resident care, and ensure regulatory compliance through advanced technology. So our journey started actually last year when we were in process of working on our strategic planning. And during the brainstorming session, digital transformation came up like oil in top of the water. And we figure out we really need to address this on every aspect of our strategic planning. Digital transformation was the common thread. So our goal was always centered on empowering staff. As Lee very well mentioned, the workforce in long-term care is aging, like the workforce in general in Canada, and even more in our organization. And we had to start thinking, how can we help them continue working and by bringing an aid to replace those repetitive tasks and give them more time at resident bedside. So started almost about a year ago, less than a year ago, when we develop a technology adoption roadmap in collaboration with GlobalDWS. And another important goal was to improve resident care in real measurable way, in preserving what works while enhancing our capacity to do better. So to current time, we developed this technology adoption roadmap, deployed the IoT sensors for the environmental monitoring, fridge, freezer, medication, vaccine, temperature. We brought on board 2 social engagement robots, and we are assessing a use case for cargo and delivery robots. So this is how our technology roadmap looks like. And well, it looks very neat and set in clear and clean columns. I have to let you know that this is a very much a live document. This is a guide for us on what we would like to see and the timing. And it changes depending on our funding, on our moving targets or moving needs, but is an amazing guide to let us know where we are and where are we going. So as I said, I want to emphasize the fact that when we started in Q3 of 2024, we were already in progress of implementing few technologies such as Meal Suite, Engage Plus, visitor signing, and EMR in our retirement side. And we continue with smart light installation in the retirement side, and with building automation to provide temperature control for resident room on the long-term care side. We implemented early this spring the social robots for residents at high risk of isolation. And as I said, we're looking at delivery robots. One note that I want to make here is that while we work with GlobalDWS, we have other partners with which we work in implementing their technologies. However, GlobalDWS, it's the one that helped us create the roadmap. It helped us create a vision and the steps that we need to take in order to achieve this vision. So that's where I consider the collaboration with them as an extremely important piece in our journey. As with any kind of projects, we all know that stakeholder engagement, it's extremely important. And you can see here as a quick glance for an Ontario long-term care home, we have a large number of stakeholders. And we have core stakeholders, we have facility and leadership operations stakeholders, we have governance and oversight because we are funded by Ministry of Long-Term Care, and system partners and advocacy stakeholders. So when you take on such a journey, you have to ensure that you consider everybody with an interest at the table, and you communicate and you take in consideration their points of view before starting a project of such a length and importance. So I want to give you just a bit of snapshot for the ones that are not in Ontario. One in Ontario, this is nothing new. Long-term care home legislation here, it's very prescriptive. And the fun fact, it's just less rigorous than a nuclear power plant legislation. So you can imagine how many rules and regulations we have in long-term care and how many things we have to keep in consideration when we implement any kind of technology. So one of the things that was a pain point for us was the recording and monitoring of air temperature, because the legislation that governs long-term care homes, fixing the Long-Term Care Act, it's very prescriptive and requires specific temperatures that needs to be kept in residents' room. And that's the fun part, is that you have to measure at least 2 resident bedrooms in different parts of the home, 1 common resident area on every floor, every designated cooling area, and so on, at least once every shift between 12 and 5 p.m. and once every evening or night. So as you can imagine, just reading this, you need to have a pen and paper to put down, okay, how many times do I need to do it and where and how? So, and in addition to that, you have to have air conditioning in every resident room. So that was the reason for our upgraded HVAC system. So as you can imagine, that was a big problem. And this was not the only one legislative requirement. As I mentioned in the previous slide, we have not just Ministry of Long-Term Care, but we have public health, and 2 of the most important requirements, in addition to air, are measuring of water temperature, measuring of medication fridges, and public health. As everybody knows, it's very particular about continuous monitoring of food and vaccine fridges to ensure safety, obviously. So we used to record all of this information manually by different individuals, as you can imagine, maintenance, housekeeping, nurses, etc., at different times, different ways, a lot of papers, which was slow, as you can imagine, and prone to error. This is a quick view of what was before and what we have in place now. So in the realm of measuring temperature. So before we were required by legislation to measure random in 3 areas out of 168, as I said, multiple documents completed by multiple individuals, kept in multiple places. So very hard to get a clear picture of what's going on. Now we have a comprehensive monitoring hourly in all areas of the home, all of this information on one comprehensive dashboard. The issue detection was reactive before. We would find out by chance or most of the time by receiving complaints, which brings with itself the risk of non-compliance and inspections and so on, and decreased satisfaction with our services. Now we receive immediate alerts and we are able to act immediately on them without getting to complaints. The staff time, as you can imagine, was long and archaic, manual recording, and now everything is automatic, and that time is given back to our staff for other responsibilities that they have. Audits and log, again, it was a very cumbersome task to do. Now it's just a click of a button. So this is just a quick view of what it used to be. And I know many of you are familiar with this type of documentation. And what we have on the right-hand side, fridge temperature, for example. And maybe you are wondering why the two on the right side, they are different. That's because we can adjust the time that we are measuring the temperature from every 5 minutes to every 20 minutes to every hour, depend on our needs. That interval impacts battery life and sustainability over time. So you can see a feedback from a staff member who told us that 24/7 smart sensors eliminate manual logging, prevent waste, ensure food safety, saving staff time while strengthening compliance and confidence in our supply. Here you can see how our dashboard looks like. Very neat, very clean, very easy to understand, with clear explanations and continuous monitoring and ability to analyze. We can take the appropriate action immediately. This is our dashboard that looks at temperature. So as you see, every room is identified by a sensor in the green side, and the common areas are in the middle. One of them is red at this point in time. So we chose that intentionally, so you see how the alerts come up and how we can address them. So the sensors are simple, installed in every room, and you can see on the left-hand side to enhance resident comfort, ensure safety, and facilitate proactive facility management. I have some feedback from staff regarding those IoT sensor deployment. And this is from my environmental manager. He said it's a huge relief. Less stress during inspections because at the click of a button, I have all the temperatures ready, all the analysis, and I don't need to look for papers, who completed, who didn't complete it, and so on. And with real alert times for over 168 checks each hour, the sensors let us catch temperature issues instantly instead of by chance or even worse, complaint. They save staff time, eliminate mislogs, and remove the need for manual tracking. And families' feedback was that they feel more confident in our operations, knowing that we are proactive in our actions. So one important thing, and a lesson learned from our experience, is that IT is a key stakeholder. I hear some noise. Balsam, if you can, yes, thank you. It's an important point to involve your head office IT or your IT designate service provider early to ensure the appropriate planning, the permissions, security access, and the smooth integration. And this is a collaboration that needs to happen between them and the vendor and the home. It's a round table with everybody around it. Continue communication to ensure that the go live, it's a success. Social robots. This was the funnest part for everybody. This spring, as I said, we introduced 2 social robots to aid with recreation and social activities. Well, at the beginning, I had some reticence about them. I did not know how our residents are going to receive them. After the first day when we brought them on the unit, I had no worries anymore. They were so happy. They were so engaged with them. And that was my clue that this is a good decision. So for that reason, we decided to bring 2, not just 1. As you see, residents are having a lot of fun with them. They are enjoying their presence, not just during activities, but during meal times, bring smiles to everyone's faces, and they keep their company. They are in the process of finding names for them, but there was a real battle there around names, so they did not decide how to name them yet. Everybody calls them as they want. Okay. From family caregivers, they were surprised and impressed how the robots interact with the residents, and staff consider them the attraction. Every time when the recreation staff brings them to the floor, people are coming, taking pictures with them, interacting with them. They love the songs and the jokes and trivia. It's challenging sometimes even for us, and residents have a lot of fun with them. What was the impact? What we were looking for, actually. We were looking to increase the social engagement, remembering short and long-term memory, abstract thinking, maintain attention, focus, spark discussions, help them make choices while suggesting options. I'm referring especially to the trivia program. Read with understanding, and above everything, have fun. We are tracking the attendance through our software for recreation, Activity Pro. Resident engagement is measured from 0 to 3. The average engagement recorded for robot interaction is between 2.6 and 3, which means the engagement is very high, and this was a successful adoption.
That is amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak about our journey. And now I'm ready for questions.
Thank you so much, Monica. That was a fantastic discussion. I here have two questions for you.
Okay.
Will robots replace staff? That's the first question.
As I said in the beginning of my presentation, our goal is not to replace staff, and I never had that intention. My intention was my first goal was, how can I help my staff, my aging employees, to have an easier workday. And we started by looking at processes and in our operations. And one of the things that it's easy to observe in long-term care is repetitive tasks. So once that was identified, the next question was, what can we do to help with these repetitive tasks so our PSWs, our nurses, our auxiliary staff can spend more time, human-to-human interaction with our residents? And this was the answer to that question.
Thank you so much. And the second question.
Also, before we do the audience questions, I just want to have a couple of questions that Yahya and I wanted to ask Monica, if that's okay.
Sure, go ahead.
So Monica, the question I get asked most often when I'm visiting people and at trade shows and so forth is like, how do you pay for this stuff? And it's really like, what budget envelope does it come from? You know, people love the concept, but they don't necessarily understand how to operationalize it. And I think you have a lot to share with people about how you funded these projects and what your vision is, or how your organization operates and thinks about these things.
As I said, we are a not-for-profit organization. So my job, one of my biggest responsibilities, is to stretch every dollar and be very mindful what I can spend money on and what I cannot. So that's one part of the decision making. The other part is your strategic planning. Where do you want to go? What's your vision for your organization? So when I put these two together, technology came in the middle, as I explained earlier, and I start thinking, how can I pay for them? Obviously, so I had to make a business plan and show the benefits of integrating technology in our operation, and our leadership supported. I think that's the starting point. How we could afford implementing these technologies. So we consider the various funds from the Ministry of Long-Term Care, such as Integrated Technology Solution, minor capital expense funding, other accommodation, nursing and personal care, and obviously fundraising and donations, but these were not our main sources of support.
Okay.
So overall,
Yahya?
you have to think outside of the box. You have to make a good sell and explain how this will enhance quality of life for residents and the quality of work and workplace for your staff.
Yeah, I think that the key, as you say here, about having the benefits early, like having a couple of quick wins early and letting people see that they gain trust in the technology journey that you're on. So you have this roadmap, but you have taken steps along the way. Yeah.
Yeah, on that note, I wanted to add, like, what would you say? What would you say were the main lessons learned from this implementation, and what would you provide as an advice to whomever is listening on the webinar?
Thank you, Yahya, for the question. This is something that I cannot stress out enough. Having a clear strategy for innovation and the technology implementation roadmap, it's invaluable. I don't see how else you can get to where you want to get if you don't have these foundational pieces in your operations. Also, it's extremely important to have a trustworthy technology partner, somebody who's knowledgeable and who offers you a variety of options, giving you the ability to make informed choices. And stakeholder engagement, as I mentioned previously, it's invaluable. You need to have communication, especially with your staff. You need to have communication with your residents. You need to have communication with family members and with other partners. It's paramount to communicate, and be honest. Answer to question to the best of your ability. And if you don't have the answer to the questions, find somebody who have them. And
Okay,
obviously, be bold. There is no
yeah.
innovation, there is no change if you don't take some risk, if you are not willing to try sometimes uncharted waters.
Yeah, and this comes like with disruption, as you know, and I think this brings me to my next question. Like, what's next? Where from here? What's your plans for the next future?
So, as I said, we are working on project for adopting carriers robots, delivery robots. And the next project is AI note-taking pilot project. We are planning to update and optimize our roadmap. As I said, this is a breathing and living document to rearrange our wants and needs for 2026 and 2027. Ongoing stakeholder engagement and communication, it's another extremely important part, because we don't want just implementing AI. We want to implement responsible AI. And we know this comes with many questions in our age, and I'm gonna leave that to you to answer to them. And also, we focus on culture. Transparency, trust, and adoption are our three key components of our culture. We need everyone on board to ensure that we have successful implementation and successful adoption of these technologies. We base all the time our decision on what our residents and our staff needs are.
That's amazing. Thank you, Monica, for all the insights and the information provided. Maybe if we can take a couple of questions before we close with the last 4 or 5 slides. I wanted to talk more about AI. So, Balsam, back to you.
Yes. So thank you, Monica. Thank you, Yahya. The second question is, are there challenges with unions?
I guess this is for me. Interestingly enough, I have 2 unions in my organization, and we did not encounter any challenges with union. And I guess this is the reason of our continuous communication with our staff, our complete transparency, and our ability to have very honest discussions where we try to find answers to their fears and to things that are unknown, because technology, it's not something that you can look at the poster and you understand it. That was one of the reasons why I looked for a trusted partner who can give me that knowledgeable advice, because I felt lost in the multitude of technologies and offers, and my background is not technology. My background is nursing and business administration. So how can I make the best decision if I don't have the adequate knowledge? The same I'm putting myself in my staff's shoes, and I want to give them the answers that are the most honest answers and the most comprehensive answers that I can. So no, we did not have any concerns, because our goal was to help them do their job, to enhance their ability to do their job, not to take their jobs away.
Thank you so much, Monica. That was amazing.
It was mentioned that the funding is for nonprofit organizations. How can for-profit senior centers get grants? I'm not sure if Lee or Monica have any insights.
Can I can speak from the Ontario point of view and long-term care point of view. For-profit and not-for-profit long-term care homes in Ontario, they get the same funding. So I'm not aware how that happens in other provinces. As for the assisted living or retirement residents, the best approach is to look for grants in your area and fundraisings. And if you are a for-profit, put in balance what you gain and what you lose, what you gain if you implement technology and what you lose if you don't. So that, I think, will be the tiebreaker. That will be the what will help you make a good point in front of your board or your stakeholders when you decide to implement certain technology or not.
Yeah.
I'll just add that there are a couple of programs that I'm aware of. So, for example, CABI, the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation, runs an at least annual open call for, I think it's called their Discover and Adopt program. And I know that I have worked in the past with some for-profit homes that have done joint proposals. So that is one possible avenue to go through that type of, an organization that is looking to demonstrate the impact of something that's fairly new, sort of almost like a proof of concept. And then at the end of the day, you still have to come up with a model to operationalize it beyond sort of a trial or a proof of concept. And I think that's where the examples that you showed, Monica, in terms of not just, happier staff, but also, happier residents and family caregivers, well, not just happier, but also, more efficient in terms of some of the work savings that you found with the IoT sensors. We're also seeing that it's easier to sort of measure the savings in workflow when it comes to things like the delivery robots. So whether it's cargo robots or light duty sort of kitchen dining room type delivery robots and concierge type robots. So if you have, an interest in looking at how, instead of assigning somebody to, walk up or, to go to somebody's room to deliver something, packages, or, being able to reduce the number of steps that your staff take, making sure that your staff can still spend time with the residents in the dining area, but do they really need to be walking back and forth, and you know, whether it's carrying, you know, bus loads or busing trays of dirty dishes, or you know, trying to keep the coffee hot by staying out there. Those are some of the improvements in service that can be measured a little bit more accurately than social engagement. So social engagement robots are more about quality of life rather than, you know, we're going to reduce the number of people that can do, you know, recreation. No, you want to have as many people as possible, but do you want to be able to offer 24/7 social engagement, right? So there are ways that you can augment your staff, and that's really about, does that make it a more valuable proposition for people who are willing to come and pay to be at your residence? So some of those things you'll only get by trying it and learning, and that's why, you know, our model that Yahya is going to talk about is really to talk about make sure you have a solid foundation and try some of these things so that you don't sort of, you know, go all in like some people, you know, like Monica was clear what the benefit was for the IoT sensors and bought, you know, all, you know, for all of her rooms, but starting with 2 social robots, right? Other homes, you know, want a social robot for every home area. So you can decide based on what's appropriate for your community.
Mhm.
And if I can add there, Lee, with aging workforce, I'm sure everybody on the call, it's encountering a lot of WSIBs or requests to accommodation for modified duties. And this is another area where you can reduce that number. That's the reason we are looking now at delivery robots, because we'll eliminate all these heavy repetitive tasks for our staff, and we hope to see decrease in requests of accommodation due to inability to do certain steps.
Yeah, that's true. I wanted to add, similar to what Monica mentioned, the return on investment, and proving to the board that the investing in these solutions would end up saving the organization and moving things forward and simplifying and actually making the business processes more efficient and more starts with proving the return on investment, and starts with going through this digital adoption plan for understanding what the business layout is. And this aids and assists in finding funds to making sure that you start your project. But before you do, make sure you understand the whole the current layout, what are your needs, and map them against your business needs. And this helps you prioritize your projects and make sure you find the funds for those. This
I want to add
brings
one
me,
more, yeah, before you
I
jump
don't
to
know.
the next one, to basically
Okay.
say that I forgot to mention that there's also the Canadian government has a program called New Horizons for Seniors that they usually open up in the summer, probably around now. And that's, I think, up to $25,000 per project that's approved. And it really is about if your community, not maybe the company is generating the demand, but if you have either the residence council or family council, or you know, just even a champion, somebody who's in the home and who really wants to invest in technology, that is a way that the program could be funded as well. So, you know, again, bite-sized chunks is their way to you know, just $25,000 help you get started with something and then be able to prove that experience. So that's called New Horizons for Seniors, and I'd be happy to provide any links if I find anything publicly this summer. But anyway, I think we should probably jump into
Yes.
Yahya's section. Okay, so Balsam, if there are any other questions,
Yeah,
we can.
there's one more question. They're asking if it's possible to share the slides for printable hard copy for resources. Yes, no?
Monica, as long as you're comfortable, I guess it's videotape, so you're okay with it going out, we'll maybe make a copy available on our blog post or something like that. So thank you. Okay. Yeah, over to you.
Amazing. Yes, thank you. So also, like you mentioned, Lee, the bite-size steps and making sure that you go through this transformation in a more efficient manner starts with understanding the business layout, starts with knowing what are the solutions that need to be implemented. And this all is successful by going through a digital adoption analysis. And it starts with understanding what your business needs are, which I believe is a key takeaway from today's webinar. And I want to make sure that you understand how we think about supporting our clients. And our digital technology, digital adoption business model starts at the base of building and establishing a solid foundation. And you do that by initiating a digital assessment, creating a technology adoption plan, and conducting pilot projects to test and validate the solution you are most interested in. And by doing so, you're able to prove that the technology works for you, and the steps that you're going through validate and help you with your needs. The technology adoption plan helps you focus on the vision you have for the future of the transformation that you envision, and it also helps you keep stay grounded and with your needs, with your roadmap, and going through this step by step and going through these incremental changes to make sure that you are fulfilling your short-term and long-term needs and building this capacity internally with your team. The digital assessment goes through 5 stages. This is developed based on our extensive experience with many organizations. We help them through their transformation, through their digital adoption planning, and we've prepared it in a 5-stage manner to make sure that we're conducting a digital assessment and developing a technology adoption plan in collaboration with the team, with the client, and their team members. We are certified at the federal and provincial level as digital adoption advisors and have developed technology adoption plans for many businesses across several sectors. And we also start by assessing the business goals, as I mentioned earlier, and understanding the business goals and objectives to understand better the business needs, and to make sure that these solutions, or whatever solutions we end up recommending and including in the plan, fits your needs before moving on to envisioning and exploring different solutions and assessing the impact, the cost, the time needed to implement each of these solutions. And last, with your team, we go through and develop a roadmap to help you phase this deployment and go through this deployment. We wanted to include some case studies from different AI solutions that we hear from the industry that are helping out the most with different clients that we've worked with. I would say the digital note-taking or the document processing using AI is one of the most seeked solutions. The case study demonstrates how AI and GPT technologies can transform document processing in healthcare by helping you automate the extraction, the summarization, the classification, and even routing of unstructured data for administrative tasks and also for medical and other tasks. These tasks previously took days to summarize and to have them ready. Now it can be completed in hours or even minutes by freeing up the clinical resources times and reducing error, and also improving overall operational efficiency. There's also other examples that we've provided, which include and our AI and robotic process automation deployments that vary from like fall detection solutions that are achieved through computer vision and like medical image assessing, and also with conversational AI, similar to what we've mentioned earlier, with summarizing and capturing notes and making sure that you can capture all the notes and have them summarized in an efficient manner using conversational AI, which also includes voice assistant solutions. There's also AI-powered data analytics, which help you with predictive health insights and risk assessments, to also include robotic process automation, which help you automate these repetitive tasks, similar to what Monica was mentioning earlier, and help free up your staff time to be able to be more efficient and work on other tasks. The last thing I wanted to mention is to make sure that we run through a successful deployment, and this applies to AI implementations and any other digital solutions that we implement. We adopt the ADKAR model from ProSci. The ADKAR model is a goal-oriented change management model that focuses on individual transitions, and it helps in achieving a higher level of adoption and making sure that we run through successful transformations. And these adoptions, when I mention adoptions, I don't just mean technical adoption. I mean also like cultural and behavioral adoption, by making sure that we are with the team step by step and listen, hear their feedback and adjust accordingly. And because as you know, technology adoption is a journey. It's not just a one step that gets implemented, and it's not a so it goes through several stages, and that's where we go through the awareness, the desire, the knowledge of what to change, the ability to implement the change, and last with reinforcement and making sure that we provide all the support required and all the information required to support such implementations. Okay, this concludes my slides, and these are our emails. Please feel free to reach out to us. Back to you, Balsam.
Thank you so much, Yahya, Lee, and Monica. This was amazing. Fantastic discussion. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And we hope that this was thoughtful and helped you to prepare for what's next and to adopt technology. Thank you so much again. And we hope to see you in our next series. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye.